Good afternoon, folks. My name is Ken Martin, and today we will be tying the Martin's Mayhem. I don't know if you can see that. It's nothing more than a fancy patch rubber legs. I added a couple things to it, but it's been very effective. So I'd like to share on how to tie one of these up. Let's do it. Start off with the Martin's Mayhem. We'll use a size 8 nymphing hook. I've knocked down the barb on it, and I've put an 1/8 inch pink bead. You can use the pink bead, 1/8 inch, or a tungsten bead, or a copper colored tungsten bead. We're going to be starting with the thread. It's got to be a very thin thread, so I'm using a 70 denier in gold or yellow, and we're going to start right at the very eye, and we're going to come about 2 or 3 turns towards the back, wrapping on the tag end, and then 2 or 3 going back towards the front. And the key is to try to minimize the amount of wraps that we're using in the front. I like to put antennas. I use these goose biots, ginger color. So the whole thing of the Martin's Mayhem is gold or yellow, ginger, light tan. So we'll take a couple of those strands off with the biots. And if you look at these biots, they have a natural curve to them when you take them off, and they curve either to the left or the right. And when you put them on the front, you want to go ahead and have the curve going away from the hook. So put it right on the side of the hook. Okay, you're going to go about a 1/2 inch in length on the front, and you're going to go 3 turns. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to take the other one on this side of the hook, on my side. We're going to put it right on the side of the shank. Try to keep the antennas the same, the length's the same. 1, 2, 3. All right, let's see how that looks. I'm liking it. We're going to do another few turns, and then I'm just going to tie that off with a whip finish, and try to keep it as tight to the front of the eye as you can. All right, tighten that down. One more half, I guess. 1, 2. That's good. And we'll just cut that thread off. Cut the excess off of the biots all the way up to the thread. Try to get it as close to the thread as you can. And then you're going to take your bead and slide it right over the top of that, pushing it right forward. Come on now. Now we're going to take a size 20.025 lead wire. We're going to strip about 3 inches off of that, and we're going to take about 10 turns around the shank. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're going to helicopter that off, push it into the bead nice and tight, helicopter the back, push it nice and tight to the back, pinch down any excess, make sure it's nice and tight. And now for the rest of the fly, I use a 140 denier gold or yellow thread. A little bit thicker, a little bit more hardier for this size fly. What I'm going to do now is build a ramp up against the lead wire. Make sure that lead wire is right into the bead, nice and tight. Can't go any further forward. And then we're going to go ahead and tie a ramp we're going to build up a ramp to the back side of that lead wire. All right, and once you get to the top, you can go ahead and go over, cover up the lead a little bit. All right, cut excess off. And at this point, I'm going to secure the bead with a little head cement. And the head cement, I like to just go to CVS or Walgreens and get this Sally Hansen quick dry fingernail polish. Instant dry, there it is, instant dry. And I'm telling you, it dries quick and it holds things. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set that bead into some head cement along with the lead, and then I also want to take these biots and secure them in as well. So to do that, I'm going to dip my bobbin in with a little head cement, and then I'm going to knock off the excess. I don't want too much going on here, but I do want to try to get some of that thread cemented in. You really can't cement it before you put the bead, because then you can't get the bead on unless you oversize the bead. And it just doesn't look natural with an oversized bead. So I always try to keep an 1/8 inch bead and work with it. And you know what? I never have any problems. And the front antennas always stay on. All right. So before we move forward, I just want to make sure that I throw a whip finish on real quick. All right. Now we're going to take a little bit extra here, and I'm going to wrap all the way to the back side of the hook until I get to about right where it starts to turn down, and I'm just going to build up like a little bubble, or just build it up, I don't know, 15, 20 times, turn it in one spot so it builds it up into a little hump, I guess is what I'm looking for. Like almost like an ant backside. All right. And then we're going to take our biot and we're going to put a longer, so whatever you tie it in the front, you got 1/2 inch in the front, you want at least 1 inch or longer in the back. So I'm going to put it right alongside the shank, make sure my length is what I want, adjust it if I need, back or forward. And then I'm just going to tie that biot right in the front side of that ball that we just did. And that kicks it out away from the shank. Again, I'm going to take my biot, and it's got that natural curve to it. And that natural curve goes away from the shank. All right. So I'm going to put it right on the side of the hook. I'm going to make sure that the lengths are pretty much the same thing, same length as the other side. I'm going to pinch that on there, and we're just going to tie that on there. Kind of looking at it. Liking what we see, we'll go all the way forward. Like that. All right, cut this off a little bit. All right. Now we're going to actually throw a gold wire on. I like to use the brassy size. You can use a small size or medium, but I like it to be a smaller size. So what I'll do is I'll take about a baseball card's length, and for the size of this hook I'll just add 1 inch, just because we need a little bit more than a baseball card. So add 1 inch, eyeball a baseball card and add 1 inch. So now we got our tail on there, our stonefly looking tail, and we're going to tie on our gold wire. And I like to start on my side of the hook, and then I'll bring the wire towards the opposite side. I'll go over the top and right back towards the back of the hook, right before we get to the tail. I'll let that hang, push this over to the side. For the body, I like to use a variegated chenille. This is a seal brown and a ginger color. You can get that up country. So we'll go ahead and take a piece, and again, same thing, about a baseball card's length, and then I'll just add an inch or so. Cut that off. And at the one end, I'll go ahead and strip the chenille off until it's about a 1/4 inch of the inside part of that, and then I'll tie that on. And I'll bring it forward to about halfway to the center of the fly. And then I'll tie my body on. Now when you bring the chenille forward, try not to overlap. You want to just bring it right up to the thread. Tie that off once. Tie it off twice. And we'll tie it off 3 times, and we'll put that over to the side. Now we're going to put the legs on. The legs are anything, these are silly legs. You could put these are brown and they're barred. There's got a little gold color to them. Anything with a goldish or yellow. This one's a copper and brown. So what you'll do is you'll go ahead and let that hang, cut that length, fold it until the legs actually meet in length, pretty close, right? And then wherever that loop is, go ahead and cut that. And there are your 2 legs. They're pretty close to same length, all right? So you're going to take one of the legs and you're going to wrap it around the thread and try to make the length the same. You're going to come over onto the side of the shank of the hook. You're going to pinch the thread and the legs, and then you're going to let it go. And you're going to wrap it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Take the other leg that you cut, wrap it around the thread, bring the leg ends together so they're almost even. Whoop. Let's do that again. Holding the leg in, bring them, try to even them out. Bring it on this side of the hook, pinching it to the side of the hook. You can let go. And again, 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now at this point, don't worry if they're not even or you know, looking the way you want it. We'll fix that with actually the chenille, with the body when we start wrapping forward. So give it a couple more times around the middle, okay? And then I want you to take the thread and bring it all the way to the bead, the front of the hook, okay? Get that. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and finish wrapping the body. We're going to wrap it between the legs. And here's where you can start manipulating the legs. This one's going too forward for me. Some people might like that. I like to have it going back just a little bit more. So I'm going to take it and see how I can bring that leg all the way back if I want. So I like it about right there. And I'll hold it steady. I'll take this other leg and I'll bring that, and I'll bring that leg to where I want it, and I want it right about there. And then I'll continue my wrappings around the shank of the hook until I reach the bead. And there's that very important inch that we've added to the length. Okay, and then we'll just tie that off. before we move forward, let's just do a little whip finish on that. All right. Now for the ribbing, when we did the body, I was turning it towards me. I was bringing the chenille towards me. Now I'm going to take the ribbing, the gold wire, and I'm actually going to go around away from me. So I'm going to take it and bring it away from me. And I want to try to bring and have it so it's evenly spaced top and bottom. So if you look at it, you're looking at it, and it's the spacing between wraps are pretty even. You might have to move the legs out of the way here and there, but we're just trying to make it look like it's part of the body. It's good flash when you're in the water. We fish these flies, this particular fly, in fast water. So the trout see the yellow, they see the ribbing. Now if I went too fast, I could push that and really take that leg and put it out of position. So I'm gonna go behind it one more time and then see if we can go in the middle of it on our next turn. All right, like that. Oh, look at that. And this really secures the chenille down. Nice, nice. Pulling it tight, keeping it tight turn all the way as you're turning it around the fly, keeping a lot of pressure on that chenille. Really secures it nice. Because you're going to be catching some big trout on this. So you need a fly that's pretty sound here. All right. I'm not joking. Now we're going to tie that off. 1, 2, 3. I like using a different pair of scissors. I don't know if you noticed, but I have two. This pair is to cut wire only. Oop, I almost cut the thread. You ever do that? Not me. Only about 1,000,000 times. All right, and then we'll go ahead and put a whip finish on that. Make sure we get that wire wrapped in there nice. 1, 2, 3. I'll pinch that wire down just a little better so I can get another wrap on it. 2 or 3 wraps. 1, 2, 3. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and cement the head in there. A lot of cement, because this fly gets a lot of use. A lot of use and abuse. Ha ha. And that, my friends, is Martin's Mayhem. Nothing more than a little added on to a Pat's Rubber's legs. But I'm telling you, just the added Stonefly look with the gold bead head and the light pink. For whatever reason, they really like the light pink bead head and the variegated chenille. And you got to use that chenille. You got to get the small chenille. Most places only sell medium. If I got to stress one part of this is the small stone. You see how this says small Stonefly chenille? Got to find the small Stonefly. And that's it. Martin's Mayhem. Relatively easy once you get going, started on it. I tie a bunch of them. You know, I'll sit down here and tie just a bunch of them to have in my box. It's a lot of fun, and I know you guys will catch some fish. So, all right, tie one up. Let me know how you make out with it, and good luck, everyone.